There's a place high above the clouds, where no road dares to climb, where maps fade and silence rules, where ancient kingdoms are whispered in winds, and mountains guard secrets that science dares not name. What if the Himalayas hold more than just snow and stone? What if they're hiding doorways to forgotten worlds? Monks speak of cities made of light, and forbidden gates to other dimensions buried in stone. Welcome to the most mysterious question you can ask. What is hidden in the Himalayas? And why has no one come back the same? This is Mysteries of the Himalayas. Prepare to enter the unknown. The kingdom that vanished, the lost realm of Shambhala. Imagine a place so remote, so untouched by time, that the clouds themselves seem to guard its secrets. The wind carries whispers instead of answers, and each snow-capped peak looms like a silent sentinel, watching over a forgotten world. This is the Himalayas, a land that stretches beyond mountains, beyond maps, and perhaps beyond imagination. In this first part of our journey into the mysteries of the Himalayas, we drift softly into one of the region's most enduring legends, the lost kingdom of Shambhala, a place not merely hidden by geography, but concealed, perhaps, by intention. Shambhala, the very name resonates like a breath upon ancient stone, described in Buddhist texts, Hindu traditions, and even in whispers across Central Asia. This mythical land is said to be nestled deep within the icy spines of the Himalayas, accessible only to the pure of heart and the awakened mind. But what exactly is Shambhala? Is it a metaphor? A state of consciousness? Or could it have once been real? An advanced civilization, veiled in time, sealed by snow? Legends say it was a realm of great spiritual and technological advancement, a kingdom ruled by wise kings who possessed profound knowledge, both material and metaphysical. Here, illness was unknown, conflict was foreign, and people lived in perfect harmony. Some accounts even suggest that Shambhala holds the ancient blueprints of the universe, guarded fiercely to prevent their misuse. It is said that Shambhala is not simply hidden in the mountains, but in time itself. Some lamas and yogis claim they have seen it in deep states of meditation, as if the kingdom exists within a parallel layer of reality, a place accessible not by compass, but by inner alignment. Yet the mystery does not end in spiritual texts. Throughout history, curious explorers, warlords, and even Nazi expeditions have attempted to uncover this elusive realm. The most famous among them was the 1920s German expedition, backed by the Nazi regime in search of occult knowledge. They believed Shambhala might hold the secrets of a master race or advanced power, something that could tip the balance of global influence. But none found it, and perhaps they were never meant to. In the remote valleys of Himachal Pradesh and the forbidden regions of Tibet, there are monasteries that speak of a gate, an actual physical portal to Shambhala, a hidden pass known only to a select few. Some claim it is guarded by the snow itself. Others say the path shifts and disappears to those not spiritually ready. More recently, satellite imagery has revealed strange anomalies in the Himalayas. Unexplained ruins, symmetrical land formations, or structures embedded into cliffsides too remote for ordinary human construction. Are these remnants of the lost kingdom, or echoes of a different mystery entirely? Some ancient texts describe Shambhala as circular in shape, a perfect mandala city protected by mountains and rivers in concentric harmony. These cosmological maps, once dismissed as spiritual metaphors, have begun to find eerie parallels in real geographical features, suggesting that perhaps myth and land are more entangled than we realized. And what if it never disappeared at all? Some Tibetan monks believe Shambhala still thrives, cloaked not in fog, but in frequency, hidden within a fold in reality, vibrating just out of phase with the world we know. A place we could only find if our perception itself is transformed. Could it be that the secret is not in climbing higher, but in tuning deeper? There are stories, softly spoken around Himalayan fires, of travelers who vanished while seeking this sacred realm, of lights seen in isolated canyons, of voices that echo from places where no living soul resides. And the clouds, always the clouds, they move with a curious intent in these regions, as if veiling truths too powerful for ordinary minds. The mystery of Shambhala is more than a quest for a lost city. It is a mirror to our own yearning, a symbol of what we believe was possible, or still could be. As we continue this journey through the Himalayas, keep this truth close. Some secrets are not hidden from us. They are hidden for us. And perhaps, in the whisper of snow or the stillness of a starlit Himalayan night, you just might hear the ancient heart of Shambhala beating still. Next, the skeleton lake of Rupkund, where the dead sleep in the snow. High in the Indian Himalayas, nestled more than 16,000 feet above sea level, there is a glacial lake unlike any other on Earth. To the unsuspecting eye, it appears serene, a small body of water cradled in the lap of snow-covered peaks. The winds whisper gently across its surface. The sky above often remains crystal clear, giving the illusion of peace, a place untouched by time. But beneath its thin sheet of ice lies a haunting truth. They call it Rupkund Lake. But across villages and temples that line the remote trails leading to it, it is better known as the Skeleton Lake, a discovery shrouded in silence. It was in 1942, as World War II raged across the globe, that a British forest ranger stumbled upon something unimaginable near Rupkund. At the edge of the lake, bones, dozens of them. But these weren't the remains of animals. These were human skeletons, some still draped in remnants of clothing, flesh frozen like parchment, hair still attached to the skulls. Hundreds of individuals, their bodies eerily preserved by the cold. No weapons, no signs of a battle, just bones, staring upward, mouths agape in a silent scream. For decades, no one could say who these people were, or how they got here. Theories swirled like the Himalayan winds. Theories, from invasion to pilgrimage to curse. Some believed the skeletons belonged to an ancient army, perhaps soldiers of a forgotten Himalayan war, caught in a storm. Others whispered of a royal pilgrimage, a king, his family, and loyal servants journeying to a sacred shrine, only to vanish forever. And in the folds of folklore, passed from elder to child in Himalayan villages, there was an older tale of a group cursed by the gods, a group that dared to pass through a sacred place with impure hearts, only to be punished by a storm of ice that fell from the heavens like spears. Could such a tale be more than just myth? A modern glimpse into ancient death. In the early 2000s, a team of Indian and European scientists launched an expedition to finally solve the mystery of Skeleton Lake. With advanced DNA testing, carbon dating, and forensic reconstruction, what they discovered only deepened the enigma. The bones dated back 1,200 years. But astonishingly, they didn't belong to just one group. Some individuals came from South Asia, as expected, but others had genetic markers consistent with the Eastern Mediterranean, possibly from Greece or Crete. What were people from the distant West doing high in the Himalayas over 1,000 years ago? Even stranger, all the skulls showed signs of blunt trauma, but not from weapons. Rather, from something round and heavy falling from above. Scientists concluded that many had died from a sudden, violent hailstorm, with hailstones as large as cricket balls. Nature had seemingly delivered a fatal blow, sudden, indiscriminate, and final. Yet the mystery persists. Why were they there? Were they together? Or did different groups arrive centuries apart? And what happened to the belongings that must have accompanied them? To this day, Rupkund remains a place of uneasy silence, as if time, death, and the mountain itself remember something the rest of us have forgotten. The spiritual dimension echoes beyond the bones. Among Himalayan shamans and Buddhist monks, Rupkund is more than just a lake. It is believed to be a threshold, a liminal place between the world of the living and the realm of wandering souls. They say that during certain moonlit nights, figures can be seen circling the lake, not tourists but silhouettes with no footprints, the kind that don't respond to calls, the kind that vanish when the mist rolls in. Pilgrims who pass nearby often leave offerings, incense, cloth, copper coins, not to honor the dead, but to appease them, to ask for permission to pass, and for protection from the cold, the wind, and whatever else lingers unseen. Even the birds fly wide around the lake's edge, as if some ancient memory warns them of danger. Forbidden expeditions and vanishing researchers. In recent years, modern hikers and scientists have tried to dig deeper into Rupkund's secrets, but not all have returned. In 2011, a team attempting a deep survey of the lake using sub-ice sonar abandoned the mission suddenly. Their reports never published, their equipment left behind. Locals say the storm rolled in, fast and furious, Others claim that one of the scientists saw something moving beneath the ice. And then there are the satellite images showing strange geometric patterns just beneath the surface. Are they naturally formed, or remnants of structures long buried by time, ice, and silence? The lake is officially closed off during large parts of the year, not just due to weather, but to preserve the sanctity of the site, authorities say. Yet whispers remain that Rupkund is protected not just by mountains but by memory, by ancient hands still unseen, still guarding a secret not meant for this era. Place out of time. As the snow drifts fall softly over the still waters of Rupkund, there is no wind, no sound, just the invisible presence of the past. Dozens, hundreds of souls, frozen in a final moment, preserved by the very mountains that took their lives. Are they victims of nature, or of something far older and far more powerful? Are the storms that descend on Rupkund just weather, or a warning? And if the Himalayas remember everything, what else lies hidden in their frozen heart? Next, the hidden kingdom of Shambhala, a doorway to another realm. In the vast tapestry of Himalayan myth and mysticism, few stories shimmer quite like this one. They say that somewhere, high above the clouds, beyond even the most treacherous paths and snow-blinded trails, there lies a kingdom not marked on any map. A kingdom invisible to satellites, unreachable by mountaineers, and guarded not by soldiers, but by destiny itself. It is called Shambhala, place that isn't just a place. Shambhala isn't merely a legend told by monks in candlelit temples. It is deeply rooted in Tibetan Buddhist texts, Sanskrit scriptures, and esoteric philosophies that stretch across centuries. It is said to be a hidden realm of purity, surrounded by snow-capped mountains and protected by a ring of powerful guardians. A city of wisdom, peace, and higher consciousness. But here's where it becomes even more curious. Shambhala is not always described as a physical location. Sometimes it is said to exist in another dimension entirely, accessible only to those who are spiritually ready. Like a lock that only opens with the right key, or a mist that parts only for those who carry the truth in their hearts. Ancient texts and prophecies. The Kalachakra Tantra, a sacred Tibetan text, offers the most detailed descriptions of Shambhala. It speaks of a radiant capital city called Kalapa, filled with advanced knowledge, crystal palaces, and beings who live long, harmonious lives. According to legend, Shambhala is ruled by a line of wise and powerful kings, each known as a Kalika or Rigdan. The current king, some believe, is preparing even now for a final battle, not of weapons, but of energy and awareness, against the darkness of ignorance. One passage reads, "Only those with pure hearts and clear minds can find the path." The kingdom is hidden not by distance, but by illusion. What could this mean? Are we talking about an actual location in the Himalayas, or a reality beyond our own? Journeys that disappear. Over the years, there have been mysterious reports of monks, hermits, and seekers who set out in search of Shambhala and never returned. Not lost, not deceased, simply gone. Some are said to have vanished into caves that no longer exist. Others were last seen following animal tracks that led to vertical cliff faces, before simply disappearing into the mist. There are even legends of travelers hearing strange low-frequency hums and seeing pillars of light moving between the mountains. Some believe these are the signs that Shambhala is near. Others think these are illusions, designed to test or protect those who dare to come close. Secret expeditions. In the early 20th century, several European explorers, including Nicholas Roerich, a Russian mystic and painter, claimed to have searched for Shambhala. Roerich even wrote that he encountered lamas in remote monasteries who confirmed its existence. He described golden peaks, strange symbols in the sky, and unexplained warmth in otherwise freezing conditions. Some of his journals hint that his team may have stumbled upon a hidden entrance, but turned back after hearing what he called the wind that speaks. In 1938, a secret Nazi expedition led by the SS also ventured into the Himalayas. Their goal? To find entrance to Shambhala, believing it to be connected to an ancient source of power and possibly an alternate race of advanced beings. To this day, many of those documents remain classified or lost. The inner Earth theory. A more recent fringe theory suggests that Shambhala might not be above the Earth, but within it. This is linked to the Agartha myth, the idea that the earth is hollow and contains entire civilizations beneath its crust. Some believe Shambhala is the capital of this inner world, accessible only through hidden portals in the Himalayas. Caves in regions like Tibet's Mount Kailash and Nepal's Mustang Valley are said to be ancient entrances. Some monks claim that when one chants the right mantra near these caves, they hear chants echoing back from deeper, unseen chambers. Who or what is chanting in return? The spiritual gateway. There's another possibility, one that merges science and mysticism. Could Shambhala be a place not bound by physical laws, but by consciousness itself? A realm of higher vibration, accessible only through deep meditation, altered states of awareness, or perhaps sacred geometry and sound. Some Himalayan yogis claim they can travel to Shambhala without ever leaving their body. In dreamlike states, they describe shimmering cities, glowing beings, and temples made of sound and light. One monk described it as a place where the sky is close and the heart becomes a star. The guardian wind. Many trekkers and mountaineers who have wandered too far from known paths have spoken of a strange sensation. A sudden drop in temperature, a sharp ringing in the ears, and then silence. Some call it the guardian wind. It is believed that this is the final threshold. If you are pure of intention, you may pass, though few do. If not, the wind will turn you around, gently or violently. There have been accounts of people waking up miles from where they fell asleep. Gear scattered, no memory of how they moved, guided away, or warned. The question that lingers, whether Shambhala is a real, hidden kingdom, a portal to another dimension, or a metaphor for inner awakening. One truth remains: the Himalayas are hiding something. And sometimes, the greatest mysteries aren't in what we can touch, but in what we're called to find. So if you ever walk the ridgelines of Tibet and feel the wind stop and see the light bend strangely, ask yourself, are you closer than most? Has the kingdom seen you? Or are you simply still dreaming? Next, the Himalayan caves of immortals, secret chambers of the yogis. Deep within the shadowed creases of the Himalayan cliffs, beyond the eyes of satellites, beyond the reach of modern maps, are openings carved not by tools, but by time itself. They are not marked, they are not signposted, and yet, for centuries, those who seek truth and transcendence have followed the call of the wind to their thresholds. These are the hidden caves of the Himalayas, places where immortal yogis are said to reside, in silence, stillness, and an impossible state of suspended time. A hidden world inside the mountains. In the Indian Himalayas, particularly regions like Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and Tibet, there are hundreds, perhaps thousands, of natural stone caves tucked into cliffsides. To the ordinary eye, they appear abandoned, weathered by snow and age. But for generations of sadhus, monks, and sages, these caves have been sanctuaries, not just for prayer, but for transcendence. And according to many legends, not all who entered these caves have left. Not because they perished, but because they chose to remain meditating across decades, even centuries. Some believe they are still alive today. Yogis who have defied time. In certain esoteric traditions of Tibetan Buddhism and Hinduism, it is believed that the highest level practitioners can slow their heartbeat to a near stop. They enter a samadhi state, a deep meditative trance, where the body requires almost no oxygen, no food, no water. They do not age. They do not suffer. They simply exist quietly beyond the threshold of ordinary consciousness. Locals speak of immortal beings, known as siddhas or mahasiddhas, who achieved such a state and chose to remain inside mountain caves to continue their meditation for hundreds of years. They are not dead. They are not sleeping. They are waiting. Eyewitness accounts. While these stories may sound unbelievable, there have been numerous modern-day accounts from shepherds, hikers, and villagers who report seeing figures in orange or white robes deep within remote caves, sometimes glowing faintly in the dark. Others describe hearing chanting or music echoing through cave systems with no known source. No one in sight, no electronics, just sound rising from the stone itself. One monk from a monastery in Spiti Valley recounted this. I once came to a cave said to be the seat of a yogi from long ago. As I approached, I felt time slow. The wind fell silent. I felt someone watching me, but no one was there. Only prayer beads resting on a stone, untouched by snow or dust. The Caves of Milarepa. Perhaps the most famous of all yogic cave dwellers is Milarepa, a revered 11th century Tibetan saint and poet. It is said that Milarepa meditated in complete solitude for years, surviving on nothing but nettles and snowmelt, turning his body slightly green from his meager diet. He meditated so deeply in the Himalayas that his songs, chants of realization, were said to ripple through the valleys like wind. Even today, pilgrims journey to the caves associated with Milarepa, leaving offerings of cloth, incense, or white stones. Some report seeing footprints embedded in rock, as if the stone softened beneath him in deep trance. A portal of transformation. Many believe these caves are not just places to sit quietly, but portals. Some say that certain caves act as gateways to inner realms, like Shambhala or Agartha, accessible only when one's consciousness reaches the right frequency. There are stories of advanced yogis entering a cave and never emerging, not because they died, but because they shifted out of physical space entirely. They have gone beyond, and the cave is now a door rather than a tomb. Hidden entrances, sealed chambers. Locals often speak of forbidden caves, entrances once open but now mysteriously sealed by landslides or unnatural stone growth. There are tales of British explorers in the 19th century who ventured into certain cave systems and disappeared completely, leaving behind only notes hinting at strange symbols and passageways leading downward. In 2007, a trekking group in Nepal's Upper Mustang region discovered a multi-level cave complex carved into a cliffside, containing ancient manuscripts, paintings, and unknown chambers. Some sections were too narrow or unstable to explore. Others were rumored to have been quietly closed off by local authorities. What lies deeper inside? Some believe the answers to ancient technologies, lost civilizations, or even beings who exist between matter and energy are hidden within. Caves that whisper. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of these caves is that they seem to whisper back. Several travelers have reported hearing low-frequency vibrations, deep hums, and even their own names echoed back at them from within. When recordings are made and analyzed, they often show frequencies not native to wind or rock resonance. Some speculate they are remnants of ancient chants left imprinted in the cave walls, like spiritual tape recordings left behind by yogis. Or perhaps, the caves are alive in a way we do not understand, unmapped and undiscovered. Satellite imagery has revealed massive, unmapped cave systems in parts of Bhutan, Tibet, and northern India. Some of these stretches are estimated to be dozens of miles long, disappearing beneath glaciers or within folds of the mountains. Who once lived there? Why were these caves so deliberately chosen and hidden? And are they still in use? Not by the living, but by the ageless? A final thought. If you were to walk deep into the Himalayas, and the trail vanished behind you, and the snow grew strangely silent, next, the lost city beneath Mount Kailash, forbidden and undiscovered. Beneath the towering shadows of Mount Kailash, where the winds whisper secrets through glaciers and snow, lies a place few dare speak of, and fewer still believe is real. Mount Kailash itself rises like a divine sentinel from the western part of the Tibetan plateau, an isolated, perfectly symmetrical pyramid of stone that appears almost unnatural in its perfection. Considered sacred by four major religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon, this peak has never been climbed, not because it's unclimbable, but because it is forbidden. It is said to be the throne of Shiva, the axis mundi, the cosmic axis connecting heaven and earth. But the true enigma lies beneath. Hidden beneath its icy base, whispered through ancient scrolls and monastic lore, is the legend of a city lost in time. A subterranean world said to predate human civilization, carved deep into the belly of the earth, untouched, unknown, and possibly undying. Whispers beneath the mountain. The mystery begins not on the mountain itself, but in the ancient texts of Tibet and India, scriptures that speak of Shambhala, a hidden realm of divine beings and timeless knowledge. Some interpret Shambhala as a metaphor. Others believe it to be literal, a physical place concealed beneath the Himalayas. And among the many suggested locations for Shambhala, Mount Kailash appears again and again. In some tantric Buddhist traditions, it is said that beneath Kailash lies a great city of enlightenment, its golden domes shimmering in darkness, invisible to the world above. The Bon religion, older even than Buddhism in Tibet, refers to the mountain as the dwelling of deities and the gateway to ancient worlds below. But even beyond the spiritual, modern explorers, mystics, and fringe researchers have pointed to peculiar features of the region. A perfect conical peak that resembles the pyramids of Egypt, compass anomalies, reports of odd gravitational shifts around the base, and stories, untraceable but persistent, of cave systems that go far deeper than any known geological surveys admit. The Ganj mystery. Some believe the lost city beneath Mount Kailash may be the fabled Ganj, also known as the Land of the Immortals. According to legend, Ganj is a hidden hermitage, a sanctuary of enlightened masters who live outside the bounds of time. This city, it is said, exists in a subtle dimension, visible only to those whose consciousness is elevated enough to perceive it. Ganj, like Shambhala, is often placed near Kailash or in adjacent mountain ranges. Descriptions across Hindu and Tibetan texts speak of shimmering palaces of light, an atmosphere of pure tranquility, and inhabitants who no longer suffer the confines of birth and death. Some Tibetan monks even claim that their ancestors have seen this place, that in deep meditation, the spirit may travel through the earth and emerge in this radiant realm. It is a city lost, not because it was forgotten, but because it was hidden on purpose. The Forbidden Zone. Mount Kailash is one of the only major peaks in the world that has never been climbed, not due to terrain but tradition. In 2001, a Spanish mountaineering team was granted permission by the Chinese government to ascend Kailash. The international outcry was immediate. Spiritual leaders from across Asia urged them to abandon the mission. They did. The message was clear. This mountain is not to be conquered. Surrounding the base are countless caves, some naturally formed, others suspiciously symmetrical, as if carved. While many are accessible, certain routes into deeper chambers have been sealed off by natural collapses or, some say, deliberately closed in antiquity. Local nomads whisper of strange lights seen flickering from these sealed entrances at night. Humming sounds, like distant chants, with no apparent source. Some say that animals avoid these areas, that birds never fly over the summit. Scientific surveys of the region have been limited, but one Russian geologist noted in a declassified report that the region around Kailash emits inexplicable electromagnetic frequencies, particularly during full moons and solstices. Could these be relics of ancient technology still humming beneath the mountain, pyramid, or peak? One of the most intriguing aspects of Kailash is its almost geometric perfection. When viewed from a distance, it doesn't resemble a natural mountain. It resembles a massive, four-sided pyramid. Its faces aligned closely with cardinal directions, just like the Great Pyramid of Giza. Some researchers have speculated that Kailash might be a natural structure modified in ancient times by a now-lost civilization. Satellite imagery has revealed unusual formations around the base. Massive terraces, straight lines too precise to be coincidental. Patterns in the rock strata that defy usual geological logic. Could these be remnants of an ancient structure buried by time, ice, and secrecy? If this were true, if Kailash was not just sacred but constructed, then the implications are staggering. It would mean that thousands of years ago, perhaps even before recorded history, a civilization capable of engineering on a monumental scale once flourished in what is now considered one of the most remote regions on Earth. And the city beneath it? Perhaps not mythical at all. The River of Time and Mercury, a curious detail from Chinese lore echoes in this Himalayan context. The tomb of Emperor Qin, still unexcavated in modern-day China, is said to contain rivers of flowing mercury, a literal underground world built to mimic the heavens. Mercury, in ancient times, was often used not just for ornamentation, but in ritual, alchemical, and perhaps technological purposes. Why is this important? Because some Tibetan and Bon scrolls describe an inner river of silver light running beneath the Kailash Massif. Some interpret this symbolically as spiritual energy or qi. Others suggest it may hint at something literal, an underground stream not of water, but of mercury, power source, a barrier, or perhaps a part of ancient machinery lost to time. Is it possible that beneath the ice and granite lies an entire network of tunnels and chambers designed to preserve something beyond our comprehension? The clues in myth and stone. Ancient sites across Tibet and India are covered in petroglyphs, many of which depict humanoid figures descending from the skies, carrying what appear to be tools or orbs. At certain temples near Mount Kailash, carvings show beings holding conical objects, standing beside what look like gateways. Gateway to what? In one temple, an entire wall is devoted to a map of the underworld, a series of descending chambers, said to mirror the body of Mount Kailash. At the lowest level, a radiant chamber glows from the center. The heart of the mountain reads a translation in one Bon manuscript. Could this be a visual record of the hidden city? A city beyond time. The allure of the lost city beneath Mount Kailash doesn't stem only from ancient texts or whispered legends. It stems from a feeling, a pervasive sense among pilgrims and travelers that something about this place is not entirely of our world. Time feels different near Kailash. Watches reportedly malfunction. Compass needles spin. Some people feel a tremendous sense of peace. Others feel watched. Monks who meditate in nearby caves often report visions. Cities made of light, vast halls filled with music no human has ever written. They describe temples that seem to breathe, and gates that open only in dreams. Is it just spiritual symbolism? Or are these glimpses into another dimension? One shielded by the ice of a mountain that no one dares disturb? The silent guardians. Finally, consider this: in every tale, in every tradition, the lost city is not abandoned. It is inhabited, guarded, protected. By whom? Not always by humans. Some texts speak of snow lions and sky serpents who guard the gates to the inner realms. Beings that are neither beast nor deity, but something in between. At least one Tibetan epic describes a shining machine being who rests at the core of the mountain, awakening only when the world is in peril. Science has found no proof of these things, but absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Perhaps the city remains intact, undiscovered, undisturbed, not because it is forgotten, but because it is meant to remain hidden until the world is ready. Next, the immortal monks of the Himalayas, secrets of the rainbow body. High in the frozen stillness of the Himalayan peaks, where air is thin and silence reigns, there are whispers, not just of lost cities or ancient gods, but of something far stranger, something that stretches the limits of belief, a transformation, a vanishing act, a phenomenon both spiritual and profoundly physical. They call it the rainbow body. It is not a metaphor. It is not folklore. It is a claim made by monks, lamas, and hidden masters for centuries, that some among them, through extreme spiritual practice, have transcended the physical form entirely, that they have dissolved their body into pure light, and that, in remote monasteries tucked into mountain cliffs and valleys no outsider can reach, this has happened again and again. Let us now enter this quiet, mystical realm of the immortal monks of the Himalayas and explore the strange, serene mystery of the rainbow body, a light that leaves no shadow. The rainbow body phenomenon is most closely associated with Dzogchen, a highly advanced spiritual tradition within Tibetan Buddhism. The teachings of Dzogchen aim to recognize the natural state of reality, pure awareness, free from ego, time, and illusion. According to these teachings, when a master attains complete realization, full enlightenment, they no longer need the body as we know it. It is said that the physical form begins to shrink, then glow, and eventually vanish into a radiant spectrum of colored light. Clothes are left behind, hair, teeth, but the body, gone. Not metaphorically, physically. This isn't merely poetic symbolism. Multiple respected lamas have documented witnessing the rainbow body firsthand. In some cases, the transformation is said to take days. In others, it's almost instantaneous. In the most extraordinary cases, witnesses describe seeing light emanate from the practitioner, even as their body begins to slowly fade away. The case of Lama Achuk Rinpoche, one of the most notable and widely accepted modern accounts, involves Lama Achuk Rinpoche, a beloved Dzogchen master who passed away in 2011. Following his death, his body was reportedly untouched by decay for over a week. Monks and laypeople alike claimed that his form began to shrink dramatically. Some say that light began to emerge from his body, and after 7 days of vigil, his remains were placed in a stupa. Yet even then, strange lights continued to flicker above the site for days. Though no cameras were allowed, hundreds of people attended and documented their observations in private journals and temple archives. The event was seen not as a loss, but a kind of luminous graduation, proof that enlightenment was not a theory, but a reality. And Lama Achuk is not alone. Other documented cases, There are dozens of reported rainbow body occurrences in Tibetan history, many of them written in detail within ancient monastic texts. Some stories date back 1,000 years. Others happened in the 20th and 21st centuries. In 1952, French missionaries in eastern Tibet allegedly witnessed the phenomenon when a Dzogchen monk named Togden passed. His body, left undisturbed, reportedly began to shrink and emit a glow over several days. These accounts were published in the Vatican's missionary reports but never received broad Western attention. Other monks, upon death, have been said to leave behind nothing but fingernails and hair. No bones, no flesh, just folded robes on the ground, and a scent of sandalwood lingering in the air. Are these simply metaphors for spiritual attainment, or has a true transformation taken place? Something science cannot yet comprehend? The science of dissolution. Skeptics often question the rainbow body as allegorical. And yet, the consistency of these reports across centuries and regions makes them difficult to dismiss entirely. Some researchers have proposed speculative theories. Could extreme meditation alter the vibrational state of matter? Could long-term fasting and altered consciousness allow the body to collapse at the quantum level? Could what we perceive as light in these moments be a manifestation of biophotons or energies not yet understood? Though speculative, it's worth noting that scientific studies have measured unusual electromagnetic patterns around long-term meditators. Brainwave shifts, body temperature control, even alterations in heart function. But nothing comes close to the claims of bodily disappearance. And yet, in the Himalayas they persist. Hidden masters and the caves of power. To truly understand the mystery, one must go beyond known monasteries, into the secret caves of the Himalayas, where hermits and yogis dwell unseen for decades. These are not public figures. They take no titles. They live without possessions, sometimes without clothes, in tiny stone crevices far from any known path. Some are said to be hundreds of years old, and some may not age at all. A few travelers, wandering far off the pilgrimage routes, have claimed to glimpse these beings, silent figures surrounded by an aura of warmth in freezing temperatures. One woman described encountering a glowing figure near Mount Kailash who spoke not a word, then vanished into a wall of mist that shimmered like glass. Local villagers tell tales of monks who appear at midnight, walk across rivers, then vanish without trace. Not ghosts, but living masters who have crossed over into a realm beyond time and matter, yet can still interact with our world when needed. They are considered the rainbow body bearers, guardians of the path for those ready to awaken. The signs of attainment. Monasteries teach that before a rainbow body is achieved, certain signs often appear. A rainbow's forming in clear skies, often above the home or cave of the dying master. Unusual weather changes, including snow melting in a perfect circle around the body. A sweet sense filling the air, like incense, despite no source. A strange lights flickering on mountaintops for days. Unburnable relics left behind. Fingernails, robes, or crystal-like bones. These signs are seen as confirmation, not just of a peaceful passing, but of a transcendence. The individual did not die in the traditional sense. They graduated from the illusion of the material world. In Tibetan art, this is often depicted with the master surrounded by a halo of colored rays, the rainbow body fully manifest, the path to dissolution. But the journey to this state is not simple. It demands a life of meditation, compassion, renunciation, and the dissolution of ego at every level. Practitioners must learn to dissolve their thoughts, their desires, their attachments. Only then, it is said, can the body follow. The Dzogchen texts describe it this way: when the mind becomes light, the body becomes light. When the self vanishes, the form vanishes. To those immersed in Western science or secular logic, this sounds like poetry. But to the monks of the Himalayas, it is a precise instruction, one tested over centuries. Modern-day relevance. In our modern world of machines and screens, the rainbow body may seem like a quaint fantasy. Yet, for many, it offers something our world lacks. A reminder that reality is deeper, stranger, and far more mystical than we assume. Even if the literal phenomenon is doubted, its message remains profound, that the body is not who we are, that identity can be transcended, that we are, in essence, light temporarily shaped into form. And in the high snows of the Himalayas, there are still those who seek this truth, not in theory, but in their bones. Closing reflections. As the sun sets behind Mount Kailash and winds howl across the icy cliffs, the idea of a being dissolving into light doesn't feel so impossible. In fact, it feels inevitable. Could it be that the rainbow body is not a miracle, but a return? That when all illusion falls away, light is all that remains? No cameras have caught the moment of transition. No scientists have verified the change. But in the stone halls of silent monasteries, candles still burn in honor of those who disappeared, who walked the path of light and left no shadow. And maybe, just maybe, one of them still walks among the peaks, watching, waiting, glowing. The magnetic hill of Ladakh, defying gravity in the Himalayas. In the remote stretches of northern India, tucked within the arid folds of Ladakh's stark and surreal landscape, lies a peculiar stretch of road. It is not flanked by grand temples or ancient ruins. No towering statues or whispered legends mark its existence. Yet, those who have driven or walked upon this road speak in hushed tones of what they've experienced here. Vehicles rolling uphill, against the will of gravity, engines silenced yet moving forward as though led by an invisible hand. Welcome to Magnetic Hill, one of the Himalayas' most baffling enigmas. The road itself is unremarkable at first glance, a quiet ribbon of asphalt winding between sandy hills and towering peaks. But this is no ordinary path. It is the site of a phenomenon that has puzzled scientists, intrigued mystics, and thrilled travelers for generations. Park your car at the marked spot, put it in neutral, release the brake, and watch as the vehicle seemingly defies the very force that binds us to the earth. But what is really happening on Magnetic Hill? Is it merely an optical illusion? Or could there be something deeper, something stranger, happening beneath the rocky soil and timeless skies of Ladakh? Let us follow the road into the unknown, a place where the rules don't apply. The Magnetic Hill lies at an altitude of about 14,000 feet above sea level, roughly 30 kilometers from Leh, the capital of Ladakh. The area is barren, the terrain undisturbed, and the silence profound. It's a place that feels older than time, as if the mountains themselves are guardians of a secret waiting to be uncovered. A small yellow sign beside the road reads, Magnetic Hill, the phenomenon that defies gravity. And it is here that the inexplicable begins. For decades, travelers have claimed that their vehicles rolled uphill on this stretch of road. Cyclists report pedaling downhill with unexpected resistance, as if the mountain were pushing back. Planes flying over the region have allegedly experienced minor navigational disturbances, though these accounts remain unofficial, cloaked in aviation rumor. To many, it seems that gravity takes a break here, that a magnetic or mysterious force flows upward, pulling metal toward the hills. Locals offer a simple explanation. The hill is blessed, or cursed, depending on who you ask. The lens of science, illusion or anomaly. Scientists and skeptics have often tried to demystify the hill's behavior. They attribute the experience to an optical illusion, a trick of perspective. The surrounding landscape, they argue, is tilted in such a way that the road appears to slope upward when in fact it slopes down. Your eyes deceive you, and your brain, ever eager to make sense of the world, accepts the falsehood as fact. Indeed, when surveyed with professional instruments, the road does reveal a gentle downward slope. Yet, for many visitors, even knowing the science does little to shake the eerie feeling of watching their car glide uphill, the steering wheel untouched. But not everyone is satisfied with the illusion theory. Ancient legends and hidden energies. Long before tourists ventured here, long before signs were posted or videos uploaded, the indigenous people of Ladakh knew this land as sacred. According to ancient folklore passed down through generations, this very patch of earth was once a testing ground for spiritual strength. One version of the legend tells of a path to heaven, a road of judgment invisible to the impure. Those who walked this path would either ascend toward the gods or be cast aside by unseen forces. When travelers feel their vehicles pulled or pushed here, some believe it is the ancient energy still active, still making its silent decisions. Tibetan monks who have meditated in nearby monasteries describe the area around Magnetic Hill as energetically active. Some claim to feel subtle shifts in pressure, tingling in the body, or a magnetic hum when sitting in meditation nearby. Could there be truth hidden in these spiritual echoes? Geomagnetic fields and uncharted forces. Modern-day geologists have explored the possibility that Magnetic Hill is situated atop an unusual magnetic anomaly, a local concentration of magnetic minerals or a subsurface geological structure capable of interfering with compass readings or electronics. But so far, no conclusive evidence has been found. Satellite data does not show any extreme magnetic field at the surface. And yet, there remains a strange quiet here, an inexplicable hush in the instruments of science, as though the land resists being understood. Some researchers speculate that the magnetic effect could stem from deeply buried metallic deposits, long hidden beneath layers of rock. Others wonder if the Himalayas, being one of the youngest and most geologically active mountain ranges, might occasionally produce transient energy fields, natural but poorly understood. Still others, dwelling on the more speculative side, propose that Magnetic Hill may lie along a ley line, one of many hypothetical lines of energy connecting sacred sites around the world. The Great Pyramids, Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, and this unassuming patch of Ladakh. Portal to the unseen? A particularly fascinating theory suggests that Magnetic Hill may serve as a kind of natural portal, a liminal space where physical laws behave differently, where our reality thins just enough to glimpse something else. Not another place necessarily, but another mode of being. A doorway in the Himalayas, hidden in plain sight. These ideas are not without precedent. All across the world, places with gravitational anomalies have long been considered spiritual nexuses. The Mystery Spot in California, the Gravity Hill in Pennsylvania, the Electric Bray in Scotland. Each has its skeptics and its stories. At Magnetic Hill, the sense of being watched, the pull on metal and memory, the odd silences that fall like snow. They all contribute to the sense that this is not just a trick of the eye. It is a whisper from something deeper, whispers from the skies. Pilots who fly over the area have shared off-the-record accounts of momentary compass irregularities or difficulty locking GPS coordinates. Though no official report has acknowledged persistent anomalies, the consistency of these whispers, across years, across flights, has become part of the legend. One pilot, who flew cargo routes across Ladakh in the early 2000s, described the hill as a dead spot in the sky, where even radios momentarily flickered. Whether caused by weather, terrain interference, or something stranger, it only deepens the mystery. The silence of the soil. Despite its popularity, Magnetic Hill has never been the site of serious long-term study. No university has erected a permanent research station. No satellite has been launched solely to scan its depths. One wonders why. Is it simply a lack of significance in the eyes of academia? Or is it something more? An unspoken reluctance to pry too deeply into the unknown? Even the soil here seems to resist analysis. Samples taken by amateur geologists show no unusual mineral composition, but they often describe the earth as dry and strangely light, as though something vital has been removed or hidden beneath. A personal encounter. Travelers from around the world continue to visit Magnetic Hill, many bringing their own skepticism and leaving with uneasy wonder. One such traveler, a photographer named Alina from Sweden, came with the intent of capturing a visual time-lapse of the phenomenon. She recorded her rented vehicle rolling uphill without power 3 times. But what unsettled her most was not the footage. It was the sensation of being pulled forward, not just physically, but mentally. She described it as a lull, like sleepwalking with your eyes open. That night, she dreamed of a giant metal gate beneath the ground, humming softly beneath her tent. Conclusion: the quiet defiance of Magnetic Hill. Magnetic Hill remains what it has always been, an open question carved into the Himalayas. Whether you believe it to be illusion, geology, or something altogether unearthly, it offers something increasingly rare in our modern world. A place where certainty dissolves. No matter how many explanations are offered, the road still pulls, the hill still whispers, and travelers still return home changed. Next, the mystery of Tsum Valley, a hidden Himalayan world where time stopped. High in the northeastern corner of Nepal, nestled in the shadows of towering Himalayan peaks and shrouded in myth, lies a place known only to a few, a remote valley frozen in time. Tsum Valley. Even the name carries an air of mystery. A place untouched by the noise of modern life. A world still ruled by silence, spirituality, and secrets. To reach this hidden valley is no small feat. It's not marked on most maps. And even today, It requires weeks of trekking through dense forests, over hanging bridges, past glacial rivers, and up steep, mist-veiled mountain passes. The journey to Tsum feels less like a hike and more like stepping backwards in time, into a realm the outside world forgot. But perhaps that was the point all along. A valley sealed by the mountains. Tsum Valley is part of the Gorkha district of northern Nepal, situated near the border with Tibet. It's surrounded by the Ganesh Himal, Shringi Himal, and Buddha ranges, towering, glacier-capped walls that make the valley feel like a hidden bowl in the sky. For centuries, this natural fortress kept Tsum isolated from the outside world. Until the early 2000s, very few foreigners had even heard of it. No roads led in. No aircraft passed above. Time here appeared to stand still. But within the valley, life quietly thrived. Communities flourished with their own dialects, spiritual practices, and oral traditions passed down for generations. No modern conveniences. No electricity in most villages. Just terraced fields, ancient monasteries clinging to cliffsides, and stone houses built in ways unchanged since the Middle Ages. It wasn't merely the absence of technology that made some feel untouched. It was the presence of something else, something sacred, and perhaps something secret. Land of hidden enlightenment. Tsum Valley is known among Tibetan Buddhists as a Baol, a hidden valley, blessed by Guru Padmasambhava in the 8th century. In the Nyingma tradition, Baols are believed to be sanctuaries concealed in the Himalayas, preserved for times of spiritual crisis. When the world becomes too corrupt or dangerous, the faithful may seek refuge in these sacred havens. Tsum, according to many, is one of these hidden realms. The valley holds more than 20 ancient monasteries, many of which are still active. Some are tucked into caves or perched high above the valley floor, accessible only by narrow, treacherous trails. Monks here live with almost no contact with the outside world, dedicating their lives to meditation and the preservation of ancient teachings. But it's not just humans who seem drawn to Tsum's quiet power. Locals speak of frequent sightings, of glowing orbs of light moving silently over the mountains at night, of strange, rhythmic humming from deep within the caves, and of figures that vanish just as quickly as they appear, leaving no footprints in the snow. Is it simply the high altitude playing tricks on the mind, or is there something more at work? The creatures that don't belong. One of the most enduring mysteries of Tsum Valley is the persistent local belief in beings not found anywhere else. Creatures spoken of in whispers, their names barely uttered. The Yeti, for instance, is said to still roam the ridgelines above the valley. While dismissed by most scientists, the elders of Tsum tell stories of strange encounters. Large footprints found in the snow, guttural howls echoing through the passes at night, and the disappearance of livestock under inexplicable circumstances. There's also talk of another being, a guardian of the Baol. Unlike the Yeti, this one doesn't have a name. Locals describe it as tall, draped in white cloth, its face obscured, its presence always accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature and silence in the forest. It never harms. It only watches. Foreign trekkers who have dared to enter deeper, less traveled sections of Tsum have come back speaking of unease, of the sense of being followed, of equipment malfunctioning, and of vivid, unsettling dreams. Some call it mass hysteria. Others call it the spirit of the land, keeping watch over its sanctity, or its secrets, the silent monasteries and the vanishing scrolls. Inside the valley's sacred structures, time appears to have stopped centuries ago. Rakhen Nunnery and Mugampa are two of the largest monastic complexes, each with foundations older than most nations. They are quiet sanctuaries of prayer, meditation, and ancient scriptures, some of which are reportedly not found anywhere else in the world. Monks speak of texts hidden in the valley, scriptures believed to have been planted centuries ago by enlightened masters, only to be discovered when the world is ready. Trekkers have claimed to see these hidden scrolls, peeking out from behind sealed stones or tucked into crevices far from any trail. But when they return later, they find nothing. No sign the object ever existed. One man reported photographing an unusual symbol carved into a stone wall. When he checked his camera back at the lodge, the image was gone. In its place, only static. Coincidence? Or is something or someone deciding what can and cannot be seen? A valley that protects itself. There's an eerie pattern in the stories told by those who try to stay too long in Tsum. Whether local or outsider, people report a common thread: the feeling that they are not meant to be there for long. Many experience vivid dreams of old temples, crumbling stone staircases, masked figures speaking in unknown languages. Others speak of a sudden urgency to leave, a weight in the chest, as though the valley itself is asking them to go. And when they leave, something changes. Trekkers report memories fading faster than they should. Details slip away. It's as if the valley protects its mysteries by erasing them. But why? Some believed some is guarding something. Perhaps an ancient technology, a spiritual truth, or a relic too powerful for the outside world to possess. Others believe the valley itself is alive, a living entity preserving balance in the world, a final haven of harmony and silence in a chaotic age. And still others say, it is not for us to know. Not now, maybe not ever. A message from the mountains? In a world overrun by noise, concrete, and haste, Tsum Valley is a reminder of what can exist when time slows down. A place where the spiritual and natural are not separate, but one and the same. It may be one of the last true mysteries of the Himalayas, a land that refuses to be claimed, classified, or explained, a sacred fold in the skin of the earth. And maybe, just maybe, the heart of a secret the mountains have been whispering for thousands of years. Next, the Sky Caves of Mustang, tombs suspended between earth and heaven. High in the remote cliffs of Nepal's Mustang region, hidden within the arid folds of the Himalayas, lies a labyrinth of secrets, carved not into valleys or the forest floor, but into the sky itself. Nestled between the ancient trade routes connecting Tibet to India, over 10,000 man-made caves are etched into vertical rock faces that rise hundreds of feet above the ground. They're known as the Sky Caves of Mustang, and to this day no one truly knows who created them, why they were built so high, or how ancient people even accessed them in the first place. Imagine for a moment a honeycomb of hollowed-out tombs, shrines, meditation chambers, and forgotten libraries, suspended like celestial footprints on the sheer cliffs. They seem to defy all reason and logic, as if carved by spirits or civilizations no longer remembered. But let us take a slow, deliberate walk through the dry wind of the Upper Mustang, through dust that once held the footprints of ancient monks and hidden kings. Let us peer into the dark mouths of these aerial tombs, and wonder what might still be whispering inside. A kingdom forgotten by time. The region of Mustang was once part of the ancient kingdom of Lo, a culturally Tibetan enclave long closed to outsiders. It remained politically isolated for centuries, protected by its geography and shrouded in myth. To get there, travelers had to pass through narrow gorges, unstable landslides, and barren plateaus scarred by wind. Few dared. Fewer still returned with stories. But Mustang was not forgotten by everyone. Tibetan lore spoke of hidden treasures buried in its stone womb, texts that could shift destinies, bones that held the wisdom of the dead, and secret stairways to enlightenment. So when the Sky Caves were rediscovered by explorers and archaeologists in the late 20th century, they weren't met with surprise. They were met with awe. Caves that shouldn't exist. The cliffs that hold the Sky Caves stretch hundreds of feet high. Some of the caves are clustered near the base of the cliffs, but others, curiously, are far above, with no visible means of reaching them. There are no stairs, no scaffolding, no signs of rope or pulleys. It's as if those who carved them had wings, or access to technologies and techniques now lost. And it wasn't just one or two caves, but thousands. Some counted over 10,000 hollowed chambers. Most are dark, empty now, silent, but others still contain ancient skeletons, stacked in meditation poses. Some caves are painted with fading murals of Buddhist cosmology. Others contain manuscripts wrapped in cloth, texts no one alive today fully understands. One researcher called them vertical tombs of another dimension. Who built them and why so high? Archaeologists and historians have debated the origin of these caves for decades. Some believe they were originally burial chambers dating back to 1000 BCE. Others suggest they were later repurposed as homes, monasteries, or even fortresses during times of war and invasion. But why build them so high? One theory says early inhabitants may have used retractable ladders or ropes, which would have made the caves easier to defend during times of conflict. Another theory suggests a more spiritual motivation, that height brought one closer to the divine. The higher you go, the closer to the heavens, the gods, and transcendence. But the cliffs are steep. Climbing them without modern equipment is not only dangerous, it's nearly impossible. So some whisper other possibilities. Were the original cave dwellers truly human? Or was this the work of a race now lost, one with knowledge and physical ability beyond our own? Inside the Sky Caves, in the early 2000s, a team led by archaeologist Dr. Mark Aldenderfer and climber Pete Athens began exploring the most remote of these caves. Their discoveries were stunning. In one cave, they found a 55-panel mural depicting the life of the Buddha, painted with exquisite detail in vivid reds and golds, untouched by sunlight for hundreds of years. In another, they discovered a cache of ancient texts, over 8,000 manuscripts, many written in a long-lost script. Some were Buddhist in nature, but others hinted at tantric rituals, healing formulas, and celestial navigation. And in the deepest chambers they found skeletons, some in fetal positions, others cross-legged as if meditating into eternity. The bones were often deliberately arranged, their purpose unknown. Some caves held funeral pyres that had never been lit. Others contained clay figurines of gods whose names have long since disappeared from prayer. Who were these people? What were they seeking in their tombs in the sky? The winds whisper secrets. The locals of Mustang, particularly the elders, carry memories passed down orally for generations. They say the caves are inhabited by spirits, guardians of sacred knowledge. They say those who enter without purpose, or with greed in their hearts, will never return the same. Some stories speak of monks who climbed into the caves to meditate and were never seen again, vanishing into another world. Others tell of glowing lights seen at night, flickering near cave mouths where no human could stand. Even the animals avoid certain cliffs. It's not just a matter of archaeology. It's a matter of reverence, of knowing that not everything carved in stone is meant to be touched. Preservation and mystery. Today, the Nepali government works alongside conservationists to preserve some of the more accessible caves, but many remain unexplored, either too remote, too dangerous, or simply too sacred. Only a fraction of the 10,000 sky caves have been fully investigated. What else lies inside? Forgotten dynasties, lost languages, perhaps even records of ancient visitors from beyond this earth? We may never know. Some secrets, it seems, are meant to remain suspended between earth and heaven, whispering softly into the Himalayan winds, letting the silence speak. So as night falls over the upper Mustang, and the sky turns sapphire and silver, we are left with an image. Caves glowing faintly under moonlight, carved into cliff faces too high for man, too perfect for chance. Tombs that hold not only bones but mysteries, thousands of them. The sky caves are more than ancient dwellings. They are reminders of what we've forgotten, of civilizations that once spoke to the stars, of knowledge buried not just in stone but in silence. And sometimes, it is in silence that the loudest truths are heard. Next, the secret of the Shambhala prophecy, a hidden kingdom beneath the Himalayas. Far beyond the clouds and prayer flags, beyond the known peaks of the Himalayas, there exists a whisper passed from lama to disciple, from wanderer to seeker, from dream to myth. It speaks of a hidden kingdom, Shambhala, a place untouched by time, unreachable by ordinary means, a realm of peace, knowledge, and unfathomable power, concealed deep beneath the roof of the world. But is Shambhala merely legend? Or could the fabled kingdom be real, concealed in ways we have yet to comprehend? Let us take one last journey, through swirling snow and timeless silence, to where myth and reality dissolve into one. The prophecy of Shambhala. In Tibetan Buddhist tradition, Shambhala, sometimes called Shangri-La in the West, is not just a utopian idea. It is a prophesied place, a real kingdom, hidden in the mountains, that will one day rise when the world falls into darkness. The ancient Kalachakra Tantra, one of the most sacred Tibetan texts, describes Shambhala as a land surrounded by snow-covered peaks, a valley so hidden that only those with pure karma and spiritual vision can find the path to it. It is ruled by enlightened kings, each said to possess both spiritual and scientific mastery. The current king, according to prophecy, awaits the moment when he must emerge with an invincible army to defeat forces of ignorance and chaos. This isn't merely a tale of hope. It's a prophecy that Tibetan monks believe with quiet conviction. A kingdom of supernatural power, Descriptions of Shambhala throughout centuries speak of an advanced civilization, one where technology, spirituality, and harmony coexist. Texts describe palaces made of crystal and gold, surrounded by blooming lotuses even in winter. The air is said to carry melodies. The people are ageless, their minds illuminated. Illness and war are unknown. Those who have seen it, if such claims are to be believed, say that Shambhala exists not entirely in our dimension. It is said to vibrate at a higher frequency, invisible to the eyes of those who are not spiritually prepared. Could it be that the kingdom is hidden not just behind mountains but behind perception itself? The seekers who went searching. Many have tried to find Shambhala. In the early 20th century, Russian artist and explorer Nicholas Roerich led an expedition into Central Asia, claiming to be guided by visions and ancient maps given to him by Tibetan lamas. He believed Shambhala was a real place, hidden somewhere in the Altai Mountains or the Tibetan Plateau. During his journey, Roerich's team reported mysterious lights in the sky, ancient monks who spoke of future wars, and visions of cities appearing on the horizon only to vanish moments later. Even the Nazis, obsessed with occult knowledge, sent an expedition to Tibet in the late 1930s. Their goal: find the entrance to Shambhala. They believed it might hold the key to a lost Aryan race or even advanced technology from pre-human civilizations. They returned with stories of impossible artifacts, cryptic texts, and silence. Where is Shambhala? The location of Shambhala remains one of the great mysteries of Himalayan lore. Some believe it lies beneath Mount Kailash, long considered the axis mundi, or spiritual center of the universe. Others think it's hidden in the Kunlun Mountains of Tibet, or buried beneath the Gobi Desert in an underground chamber accessible only through secret tunnels. Still others say the path to Shambhala is not marked by terrain, but by transcendence, that it can only be found once the seeker has shed ego, fear, and desire. In this interpretation, Shambhala is both a place and a state of being. You don't walk to it, you awaken into it. Whispers from monasteries. In remote Himalayan monasteries, there are monks who have dedicated their entire lives to preparing for the arrival of Shambhala's final king, Rigdan Jaipo, who will ride out with his army of light to vanquish the forces of ignorance. They perform Kalachakra rituals in sacred chambers, some so old that their walls bleed incense from generations past. They say the kingdom pulses beneath the land, like a heartbeat, and sometimes, when the wind is just right, you can hear it whispering through the mountain passes. An energy that cannot be mapped, but only felt. Modern encounters? Even in recent times, there have been claims of strange encounters in the Himalayas. Pilgrims have spoken of golden cities appearing through veils of mist, only to vanish like mirages. Trekkers tell of inexplicable feelings of joy and clarity while camping near certain mountain passes, places not marked on maps but revered by locals. Some even report missing time, dreams of a glowing valley, or visions of beings robed in light. Are these hallucinations from altitude sickness, or glimpses into another reality? Science cannot yet explain, but neither can it disprove. The entrance hidden in the soul. Perhaps the greatest mystery of Shambhala is that it may be found not in stone, but in silence. Not in the ground, but in stillness. The ancient teachings say that the way to Shambhala cannot be taught, but it can be remembered. It lives within every being who chooses compassion over cruelty, wisdom over ignorance, peace over chaos. In this way, the kingdom lives in all of us, waiting,